Excavation has begun on a septic tank at a site in Ireland that authorities believe contains the remains of nearly 800 dead babies and children who died at a home for unwed mothers run by Catholic nuns. Many of the infant remains are feared to have been dumped in the cesspool known as the Pit at the former institution in the small town of Tuam, County Galway, local historian Catherine Corless told Sky News. In total, 798 children died at the home between 1925 and its closure in 1961, of which just 2 were buried in a nearby cemetery, Corless's research found. The other 796 children's remains are believed to be under the site of the Secours mother and baby home, which was demolished in 1971 and is now surrounded by a modern apartment complex. Secours, known locally as The Home, was a maternity home for unmarried mothers and their children, run by a religious order of Catholic nuns. Unmarried pregnant women would be sent to the home to give birth and would be interned for a year to do unpaid work. They were separated from their newborn children, who would be raised by the nuns until they were adopted, often without the consent of their families. The full scale of the tragedy at Secours was only uncovered in 2014, thanks to Corless's findings. Now finally, more than a decade on, a team of investigators began their forensic investigation this week. It is expected to take up to 2 years to identify the remains of the infants and give them a dignified reburial and offer some degree of closure to survivors. I don't care if it's a thimbleful, as they tell me there wouldn't be much remains left. At 6 months old, it's mainly cartilage more than bone, Annette McKay, whose sister is believed to be one of the 798 victims, told Sky News. Her mother, Margaret Maggie O'Connor, gave birth to a baby, Mary Margaret, at the home after she was raped at the age of 17. The girl died 6 months later, and her mother only found out when a nun told her. She was pegging washing out, and a nun came up behind her and said, "The child of your sin is dead," said Annette, who now lives in the UK. Originally, the term fallen women was applied mostly to sex workers, but the Magdalene laundries would come to take in seduced women, victims of rape and incest, and female orphans or children abandoned or abused by their families. The last of the Magdalene laundries only closed their doors in the 1990s. Ireland's government issued a formal state apology in 2014, and in 2022, a compensation scheme was set up, which has so far paid out the equivalent of $32.7 million to 814 survivors.